Whether you want to land your dream job or your very first job, you need a great resume that gets a recruiter's attention, gets you an interview, and ultimately that position. Hi, I'm Nancy with OLTD, and in this video, I'm going to share tips with you on creating a resume that stands out among the competition. Your resume is the first impression that recruiters have of you. It showcases your skills, your work history, your education, and your achievements. Recruiters review large numbers of resumes for a single job, typically for less than 10 seconds apiece. So having one that shows that you're the best fit for the job is crucial. So how do you write that perfect resume? Well, in part one of this video, we'll look at the different styles of resumes that you can use and what needs to be included. And then in part two, I'll share some tips to make your resume really stand out. In order to get noticed, your resume should be easy to read and include everything employers need to learn about your experience, your accomplishments, and your skills. They also need to be able to quickly see how your qualifications match the role you're applying for. Tailoring your resume to the position is the most effective way to do this. Depending on your experience and skills, you'll first want to determine which style of resume to use. So let's take a look at the three most popular styles now. The first and most common style is the chronological resume. It lists your work experience first, starting with your most recent, and includes 3 to 5 bulleted descriptions of your primary duties and accomplishments for each job. This style is usually the best option if you already have a strong work history with no gaps in your employment. The second style of resume is the functional resume. This format begins with and heavily highlights your skills relevant to the job you're applying for, usually followed by your education and then your employment history. Consider using this format if you have a limited work history, you're a recent college or high school graduate, you're changing careers, or you have a gap in your work history. The third style is the combination resume. As you might guess, this style combines the chronological and the functional resume formats. It highlights skills first, but it also leaves plenty of room for work history. This is a good format to use if you're looking to switch careers or you're applying for a position where skills and experience are equally important. No matter which style you choose, you'll want to make sure your resume looks professional and includes the information that your employer is looking for. So let's look at the common sections of a resume. First is your contact information. At the top of your resume, list your name, phone number, email address, and if you have one, a link to a professional website like LinkedIn. It's not necessary to list your home address, especially if you have privacy concerns. It is common to make your name the title of the resume so that employers can easily identify you. A great way to call attention to your qualifications is to next include either a summary statement or an objective statement. This short 1 to 2 sentence statement sums up your qualifications, achievements, and professional goals. Use a summary statement if you have a lot of work experience. Highlight your proudest career accomplishments and any skills, certifications, or other requirements that are listed in the job application that you have. If you're new to the workforce, use an objective statement instead, describing your most relevant skills, career goals, and what you want to achieve in the position that you're applying for. If you have a lot of work experience, this next section will be the largest, your job history. This is where you list all of your work experience, starting with your most recent position. In this section, include the employer's name, your job title, the date you worked there, and between 3 and 5 bullet points with your strongest accomplishments the employer is seeking. If you've been in the workforce for many years, you only need to include the last 10 to 15 years of your employment history. If you have limited job experience, list all of your employment, even if it's not completely related to the job you're applying for, so the employer can get an idea of what skills you may have learned that could be transferred to a new position. You can also include any experience you may have from volunteering or clubs. Another section to include is your education, and it's common for this to be listed toward the bottom of your resume if you already have a work history. If you're a recent graduate or the position requires specific certifications, this section can go higher up. List any degrees and certifications you've earned. List the degree type and the field of study, followed by the name and the location of the school. List your highest level of education first, and also list any honors that you've earned. You don't need to include your graduation date or your GPA unless you're a recent graduate or you're applying for internships. If you are currently attending a college or a university, list the degree you're pursuing and your expected graduation date. If you attended some college but you didn't graduate, list the years you attended, the number of credits received, and the field of study or degree you were pursuing. Another section to include is a list of your professional skills that qualify you for the position. Review the job posting closely to find the skills the employer is looking for and then make sure you list them in this section. You can include both hard skills like specific knowledge or technical competence and soft skills like communication or attention to detail. List your skills in a single sentence or paragraph separated by commas or bullet points and start with the strongest and most relevant to the position first. The last section is optional. You might consider listing 2 or 3 other accomplishments that will help the employer better understand your qualifications for the job. Examples include relevant awards you've won, volunteer work, or publications you've authored. So to recap, I've shared the 3 styles of resumes: chronological, functional, and combination, and I reviewed the sections of the resume: the contact information, the summary or the objective statement, the professional experience, education, skills, and achievements. For more help and resources, click on the link to our career page below this video. In part 2, I'll share tips from career experts to make sure your resume gets noticed and gets you to that all-important interview.